Like many weekends, I found myself at the Grand Canyon this past Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. As you may know, I take the Grand Canyon very seriously, both from an adventure and a photography perspective. I've hiked there with a single camera and lens, and on other days, I've hiked it with half of my collection. You may remember that I recently picked up a second Nikon V1 camera, which is a player in the mirrorless interchangeable lens market. However, it's not even one of the highest tech or most widely adopted options. It is, though, a camera that I took to right away when I first acquired my first one. Or maybe it took to me. Wanting a second one to dedicate to video, I found a great price and I jumped at it. In the past, many of my camera purchase decisions were dual purpose. One, to use some of the best tools for what I do, but two, to have the gear handy that you, my viewers, are considering. Every time I purchase something, which happens way too often, I have to find the right balance between functionality, price, and the things that you want to look at. The V1 is a departure from this. In high-tech digital photography terms, it's obsolete. The Nikon V2 replaced it in the lineup. However, since Nikon has maintained compatibility in the Nikon One system, as new lenses and accessories are developed, my V1s continue to support them. I'll always recommend the V1, but if you're after the latest and greatest, I'll mention some of the more current Nikon One system options later in the video. Okay, let me stop talking about this little new guy and get to the point. I have a D800 and a D300S, and this Canon T4i, and this old D70, and these older film SLRs. But when I wanted a camera with an eye toward video, I didn't even consider a DSLR, even knowing that I would inevitably use the new camera for still image work in addition to video. Let's talk about some of the reasons. The first reason is, well, you can already see that I have a few SLRs here. But what if I took a few of these away, like this one, and then maybe these, and then even maybe this one? Now, when we get to these two, the D300S and the D800, no way, hands off. 2 DSLRs and a series of lenses is my bare minimum for paid work. But remember, these are high-tech machines, and they can fail on their own, or with a little help from any number of accidents. When that moment strikes, you need to be ready and shooting again in no time flat. Would I bring my V1 with a fast prime lens as a second or maybe even first backup to an event? Yeah, I would. Have I? Not yet. Now let's talk about why I didn't consider a DSLR for my dedicated video machine. For one, and this is a personal opinion, I dislike DSLRs for video. There, I said it. Once you go to live view or video mode in any DSLR that I've used, everything goes to shit. These cameras are really designed to be operated in mirror down mode, where you can see through the viewfinder. Once the mirror is up, there's no more viewfinder, focus is often terrible, and using a camera like this is terrible. Vendors like Sony, who are committing to mirrorless configurations in the high end of the product line, really are onto something. Don't get me wrong, I love the optical viewfinder of my D800 here, but if you catch me using live view or shooting video with it, just tap me on the shoulder and take it away from me. The V1 here, which is similar to many of the smaller mirrorless options like Micro Four Thirds cameras, Pentax's Q-mount, and numerous others, is a great performer. The Nikon One system has just over a half dozen lenses available, but 3 are primes from wide to portrait length, with that portrait lens opening up to f1.2. Add the f-mount adapter, and the possibilities increase dramatically. Images are crisp and sharp. It's no D800 in low light, but it gets the job done at higher ISO. For action, the focus is instant, and when it comes to frames per second, 5 is its standard, but it has some tricks up its sleeve that can bring it up to 60 frames per second. Like to shoot raw, aperture priority, maybe even fully manual? Much of what I can do on this, I can do on this. Same battery too. That makes me really happy. Okay, I'm not here to sell you a V1. In fact, there aren't too many more new ones around. Nikon is pushing the S1, J3, and V2. And really, they're actually rethinking their entire mirrorless line. But what I am saying, even a DSLR diehard like me is really able to change the way that she works based on the big things and small packages aspects of these smaller cameras. My D800 and D300S aren't going away anytime soon. But when it was time to pack a small bag for a fun weekend to my favorite place in the world, what went into my bag? The V1. And the V1. Was I nervous about this? Yeah, it felt a little funny at first, but I'm home now. I've looked through the photos, watched the videos, and you know what? It all worked perfectly. My hydration pack, where I tend to keep my camera, was lighter and had more room for all the things that I like to have with me on remote trails. Now, this one is supposed to be for still images, and the other one is supposed to be for video, the one I'm using right now. But I ended up taking a lot of pictures with both of them. Maybe I need another one for video. No, bad snap chick. I probably already have way too much.